If you like the following content, please leave a tip at buymeacoffee/Whitley. Hello, welcome back to another insightful episode of Technology Investment Investigations, where we delve into the tech world to uncover investment gems. Today, we're focusing on Ocugen Inc, a notable player in the biopharmaceutical industry. We'll perform exhaustive SWOT analysis and assess its investment potential. So sit back, relax, let's embark on this financial exploration together. The biotechnology and pharmaceutical industries are currently experiencing dynamic changes. In 2024, the global biotechnology market is estimated to be worth around $1.5 trillion and is expected to grow at an approximate rate of 13.9%, reaching roughly, potentially, 3.8 trillion by 2030. Key players in this space include Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Merck, and Sanofi. Okay, so a quick look over the financials before we get into the SWOT analysis. Its cash position, the cash equivalents investments totaled around 53.5 million as of September 30th, 2023. This is a significant decrease from the 90.9 million at the end of 2022. This indicates a massive burn rate of cash, as you can tell. If we look at the operating expenses, there's been a reduction in the operating expenses from $15.4 million in quarter 3 of 23, down from 23.1 million same quarter from 2022. The decrease primarily resulted from a drop in research and development expenses. Hopefully this is just because of cost of goods rather than actual they've cut their R&D. But this fell from 15.6 to 6.3 million. And obviously there's been a huge net loss per share over that time, although it depends how you look at it. So from my figures it looks like this could be in kind of like 6 cents in quarter 3 23 compared with the 10 pence per share from the previous period. It's just a decent amount of management for expenses from what I can tell. The figures for revenue were a bit difficult to put together something that was accurate, but overall from the research, and you can see it on the screen now, there's a present of a mixed financial picture, I think. There are promising developments in its clinical pipeline, which we'll go through in a bit, but the high burning of the amount of cash they're burning through gives a certain amount of risk for an investor, and there's a lot of volatility there which we need monitoring before the clinical trial is complete. So as always, we're going to go through the SWOT analysis, which is the strength of the company, the weaknesses of the company, the opportunities of the market for the company, and any threats to the company from the market. Okay, so let's look at the strengths, let's look at the positives of the company. There's very strong leadership there, founded by Dr. Shankar Musunuri. He's a seasoned biotech veteran, has extensive experience in advancing and commercializing a wide, diverse portfolio of products. His background includes significant roles at Pfizer and as the founder and CEO of Biotech Inc. as well. We also have the co-founder, Dr. Uday Kompella. He brings an expertise in drug discovery, delivery, and nanotechnology, particularly in treating a variety of disorders, including, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, retinitis pigmentosa and age-related macular degeneration. So these are all eye conditions. And there seems to be a culture built around being bold, acting with urgency, and demonstrating ingenuity. Just if you read between the lines on all the published papers that the company's given out there to the public so far. The really interesting parts of this company are obviously the gene therapies. This company specializes in eye conditions, and it has gene therapy work in the pipeline. They have the OCU400, which it deals with something called NR2E3, RHO, and CEP290 mutations. This is phase 1. It's received a orphan drug designation, indicating its potential for treating rare diseases, presumably with the eyes. There's OCU410, which is another gene therapy to do with dry age-related macular degeneration, again in phase 1. We have OCU200, which is a biological therapy for diabetic macular edema. and other diabetic conditions of the eyes, as well as age-related macular degeneration. There's Ocu500, which is apparently an inhaled muscular vaccine candidate for COVID-19. Nothing to do with eyes, but obviously they're stretching their way through everything and making sure they've got a diverse portfolio there. And the only branded one they have that I could find is something called Neocart, which is a cell therapy for treating articular cartilage defects in the knee. Currently preparing for phase 3 trials. These are all very interesting products, especially the gene therapies for the eye-related conditions, which I think could have potential once it gets all the way through phase 3. Now, trying to be positive with the financial stability of the company is difficult, but Q3 they seem to have a strong cash position. Again, this only seems to have been just Q3 that I can tell. And there's the clinical trials coming up, which I think will bring a lot of cash once they've completed, if they complete successfully. There's a number of milestones there, like I said, with the phase 3 trials for Ocu400, phase 1s for Ocu500, and there's initiation phases for the Ocu200. All these are supposed to complete within the next 6 months, so the first 6 months of 2024. So overall, for the strengths, I'm thinking Ocugen Inc. It demonstrates considerable strengths as a biotechnical company. That's definitely true. Its leadership and core values foster an environment conducive to innovation. We can see this with the wide portfolio of products. The company's diverse and promising product pipeline, especially in gene and cell therapies, positions it very well and solidly within the biotechnology sector. I think as all these come through their stages, I think that the value of the company and the share prices will start to move up from its penny share basis at the moment. Financially, the company's developing a prudent cash management system, and obviously the focus is now on operational efficiency, which hopefully will stabilize any potential worries and concerns that I might have or you might have with regards to the actual ability to manage their cash. I think for stakeholders in Ocugen, they can find encouragement in these strengths, especially considering the company's focus on addressing the unmet medical needs. Certainly these therapies are innovative and therefore less fashionable diseases that we all encounter as we get older and through our lives. So it's important to balance these strengths out against the risks that will be associated with companies are going through clinical trials, so to speak. It's just as they go through, if they go and successfully get through these phases, then obviously that strengthens the value of the company. Okay, so this is where things get tricky, and this is where we start seeing the reasons why the share price has dropped as much as it has. There is a class action lawsuit, I believe. Ocugen Inc. is faced with a class action lawsuit filed on behalf of investors. The lawsuit alleges that Ocugen made false and misleading statements and failed to disclose critical information. Specifically, it was claimed that Ocugen submitted insufficient information to the FDA to support an emergency use authorization for some of its products, and that the company would not file an EUA with the FDA. And this lawsuit highlights potential issues with transparency and regulatory compliance. If you take this alongside with the financial issues, it makes me wonder whether anybody actually is in charge of the company. Hopefully somebody in the office is managing the paperwork. So the FDA feedback, which is back in June 2021, Ocugen revealed that it would pursue a biologics license application with the FDA instead, as previously announced, EUA for its vaccine candidate. The shift was due to the FDA feedback requesting additional information and data, and likely requiring data from an additional clinical trial. This change in regulatory approach may have caused uncertainty among investors and stakeholders, as it suggested potential delays and increased development costs. It also, as I just said, means it makes me wonder whether anybody was actually in the office managing the paperwork. So off the back of the transparency allegations, the announcement of pursuing a BLA instead of an EUA caused the stock price to fall by 28%. That's a lot of negative market reaction for any stock. Just over a few days, I believe this took place. The allegations in lawsuit, particularly regarding the insufficiency of information provided by the FDA, point to potential weaknesses in Ocugen's transparency communication with not only with the investors but with the regulatory bodies, which is very important. We have done company reviews on the channel before where there are some serious doubts over the data credibility, and at the moment this is just to do with basic office paperwork, but if they ever creeped into more serious kind of concerns about whether the data for the actual products was valid, that would seriously make me question whether I wanted to even look at this company ever again, let alone invest in it. So apart from the fact that the products are very niche at the moment, although they have kind of gone off in adjacent different directions for whatever reasons they've decided to go off in those different directions, I think the factors that make me worry about this company, and they're the only ones, are the communications with the stakeholders, with investors, and more importantly with various governmental bodies that handle regulation. The health of the company and its investment potential is incredibly important, but this is all done on the finite details of basic paperwork, basic communication, and very simple management practices that most companies are capable of doing these days. So where to view Ocugen in terms of the market it's in? If we did the whole healthcare market, we would be here for 1,000 years discussing it. So I've concentrated on the gene therapy market. Seems to be the core methodology of their products. And if we look at the gene therapy market, the size was estimated to be around 8.6 billion in 2023, and it's projected to grow up to 19% by between this year and 2030. Meanwhile, the cell and gene therapy market is anticipated to grow at an approximate rate of 23% during a similar period, and it could end up achieving a value somewhere in a region of 110 to 115 billion by 2030. The key players, the market that does this type of thing, these type of products, include significant players such as Amgen Inc, Bluebird Bio, Gilead Sciences, Novartis AG, and others. All these companies hold substantial market shares and are engaged in strategic alliances, collaborations, and advanced product launches between themselves and each other. So key segments within the market include oncology, cardiology, CNS disorders, musculoskeletal conditions, infectious diseases, dermatology, endocrine, metabolic, genetic disorders, immunology, list goes on, hematology. It's basically anything to do with cellular degradation through disease and various disorders. For instance, in the context of spinal muscular atrophy, this is a targeted disease for gene therapies from various different companies. I think there are about, from my research at least, there are about 10,000 to 25,000 affected children and adults in the United States of America as of 2020, if I read it right. That's a potential patient base for these specific therapies, which is absolutely huge. Now, obviously, I'm in the UK, we have the NHS, so exploitation financially of diseases and disorders is considered to be quite unethical, but for this company in the United States and for investors, obviously we overlook all that and we just look at the numbers. So the reasons that we can see these therapies taking off once, if they get through in one piece, it'd be North America, so that's United States, that's Canada. Gene therapy market there is expected to be the largest and basically the first of the major economies to standardize that kind of behavior medically, rather than just taking things out, jamming needles in, whatever. This will be followed by Europe, and this will be, once it kicks off, we could be the fastest growing region, and obviously the Asia Pacific region, which is 3 billion plus people, could easily just take that market and run with it. So gene editing technologies, this is a market trend since CRISPR was developed back in the 90s. This is driving the market growth, that whole technique that goes with that. And the FDA is expected to approve 10 to 20 innovative gene therapies by the year 2025. I would imagine this will accelerate, and there'll be specialized departments purely looking at gene therapy approvals going forward, which will just expand the markets exponentially. This is an unusual company for me to look at because it's the market base which is probably the driving factor in what I think the value would be for the company. Most of the time it's either something I like the technology, or there's something about it I think it could kind of find its niche. With this one, it's a market which is expanding purely because of the recognition for the technology having been proven over a 30-year period. So we can expect continuous growth in gene and cell therapy in the market and in the science. We're going to see exceptional technological advancements and an increasing prevalence of target diseases. For a company like Ocugen, that's incredibly promising. As research progresses, the number of treatable conditions will likely increase, expanding a potential patient base. The expansion, combined with understanding by regulators, could significantly enhance the market. If we try to look at the value, which we've thrown some numbers out so far this episode, but considering the current market size and the projected growth, the gene therapy market alone for the world by 2032 thereabouts could be around 44 to 45 billion US dollars, if I've basically read everything correctly. The market that Ocugen operates in obviously now presents substantial growth and a potential that is driven by technical advancements, and obviously expanding patient base, and hopefully as the future progresses we'll have a regulatory environment which is cooperative and enhances the ability of these companies to be able to get these products online without any kind of hysteria. So while these challenges are high treatment costs and complex manufacturing processes exist, while we have those challenges, those will come down. Just look at Tesla's methodology, look at Elon Musk's methodology with his company, is to just make the manufacturing as big as possible so you get as much out there as possible. I think that's going to become the standard. Business people are looking at that method for doing business rather than the kind of do it small and expand as we need to. It's just hit it right at the beginning and then take the market as you need to. I can't see how that would be different from this, but I don't know enough about gene therapy to know how that would go to market. But there's the potential for you, and there aren't that many companies in the areas that Ocugen is specializing in. So not only is it niche, it also has massive expansion potential. So if the market is as perfect as it is, and if this company can hold its own, what's to worry about? Why isn't the share price through the roof? Well, just look at the problems in the market that I can see going on at the moment and coming up. The gene therapy industry faces significant manufacturing limitations. Some of this is down to key raw materials. It's obviously to do with high development costs of this new technology, and it's a severe lack of well-established manufacturing platforms. This basically means that there's very little scalability and comparability of the different therapies, as well as the repeatability and all that jargon that goes with it. But basically I can't see how they can expand at present until they've actually developed the market, the technical parts of the market. At the moment, most of this is lab work rather than manufacturing work. Now, gene therapy conjures up a lot of negative emotions for a lot of people. Too many horror films involve people messing about with gene therapies, and that's going to cause a lot of problems when it comes to regulation. The regulation challenges are huge. from maintaining the quality of the cell and gene therapy products. This is complex, as I've said, because of the ability to manufacture these at a high rate, and it's the short lives of the materials that they currently have. There's no way to stress the system properly to see if they can get this stuff out there. Now, luckily, these therapies aren't needed for emergency purposes, but there's still a difficulty in getting these all out there. The availability and the movement of the materials for the cell and gene therapy for manufacturing purposes, this is severely limited and restricted. It impacts the timeline of the projects just to actually produce the materials for testing, let alone for manufacturing on a large scale. The specialized materials, high costs, and the short shelf lives seriously affects the whole system. So there are ongoing challenges just dealing with the type of gene editing therapies that we have at present. There's issues such as tackling the toxicity issues that exist within there. There's a loss of antigens that are associated with this. More importantly, it's the suitable delivery system. So this isn't something where you can just jam in a gene therapy sequence and it'll activate as if it's a computer program. You actually need a carrier of some sort to take it into the cells and to affect the cells to allow them to change. A targeted version with this is the next generation afterwards, as far as I can tell. At the moment, it's just once this is in the body, it just goes everywhere, and you just have to hope that you've put it in the right part of the body to do what you need it to do, where you need to do it. And obviously, with all these manufacturing issues and the testing of this, there's high costs that are associated with these gene therapies. As a result of that, the currently ones that are of past regulation hurdles are very expensive. And these issues will need to be addressed through improving the manufacturing practices and obviously the collaboration with the insurers and everybody else to get the money out there to do this. Now, overall, the cell and gene therapy market is very competitive. This is, I suppose, slightly this is a good thing, because obviously the new practice that we've done between everybody will come up with versions that will allow a quicker development phase, but it's going to take it's whether Ocugen will actually be able to take advantage of that before the other companies do. The major players which we've already gone through, Amgen, Bluebird, Gilead, Novartis, these companies have very strategic alliances between each other. What Ocugen has with these companies, I don't know, but obviously there's going to be the academic cooperation and communication which should allow them to expand something somewhat, hopefully. And the big one, as I've said, is the paranoia when it comes to any kind of gene editing therapy. The regulatory standards and the different bodies that put these through don't quite understand the technology yet in order to allow these products to go through, and the characterization of what these products are is still a concern for a lot of people. The safety concerns, as the number of the treatments grow, there have been several trials that have already been put on hold due to safety reasons. It means there's a cautious advancement in the technology rather than an all-out gold rush to pull these into the hospitals and medical centres to allow this treatment to go through. And for a lot of these are for rare diseases. So while the FDA aims to reduce the regulatory barriers, in the States at least, the FDA obviously has parallels around the world. They're only servicing a small number of patients, and there are companies basically pursuing niche treatments through all this. If they can demonstrate the effectiveness against the traditional modes of care, then obviously this will allow the expansion of the market overall. I think the cell and gene therapy market, while it's promising, the amount of challenges there are considerable. Everything from manufacturing to quality control to the regulation, compliance, and the stiff market competition. These are all challenges that are going to roll over smaller companies. If Ocugen is rolled over, then that's that. Your investment is gone, basically. It may be the case that they'll get these through and the company will be bought out in the future. Depending on which platform you want to define whether you've actually made anything from the profit or from the product of selling those shares, or the shares being bought up by a big company, or whether or not, I don't know. Let's hope they have some strategic collaborations in place in order to get through this possibly harder phase of the entire industry. So overall, tech company at this stage, when it's mainly R&D, any tech company is very volatile when it comes to share price. So for day traders, this is a perfect stock. It's going to bounce up and down with the news all day long. For long-term investors, it's basically whether you believe in the product, whether you believe in the people that actually put it together. So I think, as the SWOT analysis of Ocugen Inc reveals, it's a company with a strong potential. It's marked by innovative products and strategic positioning, purely because of the niche nature of its products and its therapies. However, they must navigate the financial challenges better than they are. There are competitive pressures, there always are, and the regulatory landscape is something that takes a little bit of skill just to get around, and getting the paperwork in on time and done properly will balance out everything perfectly. So my view at the moment thinks that Ocugen presents a promising investment opportunity, but you're going to have to weigh this up with inherent risks that could potentially take this company down permanently. Yes, it's up to you. You need to look at it. Do your research on this one and see if you come to the same conclusions that I do. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for joining us on this investigative journey into Ocugen Inc.'s investment potential. As always, I don't actually tell you what I think the price is going to be in a year's time. I may describe what the company is in front of us now, give you as much information as I can, so you can basically decide what's interesting to you and you can go away and do your own research. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'll encourage you to make your informed decisions based on your own thorough research, because my research is never going to be complete. Nobody's ever is. Okay, so until next time, keep exploring, stay informed, and we'll see what we can do next time for a more interesting video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed my content, please support this channel by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Whitley, or scan the QR code to leave a tip.